Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for new stories from Yellowcat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. What's your homeowners association horror story, part 4? Not a horror story yet, but it could be. When we moved in, someone stopped by to say hi, but more like to tell us our boat can't be parked on our lot. My wife told her, well, we read all the rules and it doesn't say that. She replied, well, I wrote the rules, so I should know. My wife told her to go read them. Don't hear anything for months. When we get our annual dues packet, there is a newsletter saying our lot is in violation and that we stated plans to modify our garage to fit the boat in the spring. We never said that. They suggested setting a deadline for us and setting a vote to add boats to the list they already had. Campers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, and travel trailers. Bought the house intending to build a detached garage, but in order to comply with the design rules, it would cost me $90,000 US, so I'm waiting until I get an official anything in the mail, then I'll get a storage unit. By the way, my neighbor has been here 6 months longer than us, and they have a boat in their driveway too. We were the first house in phase 2 of our subdivision. The developer got lazy and didn't file covenants for P2 until 2 months after we closed. Technically, we are not subject to any restrictions. I troll them mercilessly. Facebook post goes out about no burning trash. Time to light a fire. Second post comes out with VP threatening that he will come put out a fire at your house. Luckily, it was freezing cold, so I lit a fire and reported myself at about 10 p.m., suggested he come put it out. I could go on and on and on. I hate HOAs. Alright, it looks like the HOA board is up to new shenanigans. They dropped a post on the neighborhood Facebook page about commonizing our trash service provider. Seems reasonable. We could have saved money and reduced truck traffic in neighborhood, and with 4 different providers all picking up on different days, there are always cans by the road. I was on board with the idea until one person suggested they did not want to change, and the response from the board was basically, you will do what we tell you. No you won't. I am now looking into whatever permits I need to start my own trash service. Ideally, I would like to buy a used garbage truck, the nastier the better, and hire some homeless people to drive the truck up and down the road in front of the HOA president's house 24/7. I'm thinking of starting a GoFundMe page for this and outfitting the trash truck with cameras for a live stream. My family moved to a new neighborhood when I was in kindergarten. My dad had built an amazing playhouse for me and my siblings. It had miniature windows, a miniature door, working lights, even AC. It was basically a tiny house before tiny houses were a thing. It was beautiful. He had built it on cinder blocks so that we could move it to our backyard of our new house once we moved. Perfect, right? Nope. The homeowners association refused to let us bring it, citing that the neighborhood doesn't allow tool sheds because apparently they are an eyesore. Backyard playgrounds are fine, but somehow our playhouse didn't qualify as a playground. Me and my younger sisters were effing devastated. I remember crying and crying because I couldn't keep the playhouse that my dad worked so hard on. I'm 24 years old and I still tear up when I think about it. Why did anyone care so badly that they deny some kids their playhouse? I still drive by our old house once a year or so. The new owners haven't taken care of it and it's fallen into disrepair. I have other stories about our HOA, such as how we were frozen out for having a non-traditional house color, gray. It was effing gray. And a woman who used to walk around the neighborhood with a clipboard to write people up for offenses that shouldn't matter. My mom had an HOA that were a bunch of a-holes. The average age of the HOA was about 60 years old. At the time, I was 16. We had a community pool, and my mom got HOA violation letters because I wore a bikini to a swimming pool. Odd, I thought, so I wore a one-piece. Another letter saying the bathing suit was risk. They dropped it when my mom told them it was our high school swim team uniform and to please explain how it was provocative. Next summer, they had new rules that made it basically impossible to any kids to enjoy the pool. It soon became an old folks pool. Long story short, police did an undercover sting, and half the HOA were arrested for using it as a launching platform with their swingers club. They were arrested for lewd and lascivious actions in a swimming pool. Karma was nice that year. The pool rules were rescinded, and we got to use the pool again. As I got older, I learned a valuable lesson: never to buy a home that has an HOA. I never had an HOA, and I never intend to. Most of the time, it's ran by old people with a superiority complex issue. Some follow-up. No, the police did not do a sting because they heard about spouse swapping. Sorry if I miscommunicated that. The police busted several of them at the pool doing lewd things because of the spouse swapping. The pool was just one meetup. Other places were in private, I suppose, since the pool one was the only place busted. They didn't ban the teenagers from the pool the following year, but they made the rules so tough we couldn't go. One rule was no more than 4 teens in the pool at any one time. It was a big pool, and all teens must be accompanied by a guardian, an actual parent or legal guardian. Our next door neighbor was one of the guys busted, not his wife. I guess his wife was with another guy somewhere else, lol, I don't know. But I do remember one of my girlfriends always yelling in our front yard, "Is that the guy's house who got busted in the swimming pool?" That HOA officer was a retired Florida police officer and was one of the biggest influences on pushing the teens out. My very first place in college that I didn't rent was a townhouse condo. Typical cookie-cutter, 3-storied, 4-to-a-section, little cutout of suburbia for beginners. I lived near the back of the development. This meant driving by/past the front units every day to get to and from work and school. Our HOA board president, Sonia, lived across the street from our HOA treasurer, Zelda. Sonia was in her 30s, ran an illegal daycare out of her home, and I hated driving by her house after 3 p.m. or on weekends because her 2 elementary-aged kids would hide behind the parked cars and run in front of your vehicle screaming, "Slow down!" I got really scared after this happened a few times and only drove 5 miles per hour through there, and the little S's kept doing it. I spoke with their mom about how unsafe jumping in front of cars was. I'm only going 5 miles per hour because I'm terrified, and they're basically harassing me and our neighbors weekly. Sonia says her kids are being neighborhood monitors, and I should be thankful for their diligence. WTF? A week later at 7 p.m., after most of the residents are home, mostly young families, I pull in after working my retail job after class. I notice a tow truck, then 2, then 3. Holy effing S, they're towing everyone in the neighborhood. I park in my garage and run upstairs to tell my roommates to move their cars from the street parking. They run out, and sure as S, everyone who parked on the street is getting towed. There's 2 of my neighbors fighting with the tow drivers that they've always parked there. It's a parking area. It's in our homeowner's booklet. We whip it out, and the tow truck drivers say they're just following orders of Sonia, and they leave when the police show up. Sonia put up home-printed paper signs and signed a contract with the tow company in the middle of the day without telling anyone. The cops advised all residents that there was no posted no parking signs. Guys, that night, she was out in the street with a red bucket of paint painting the curb red. She had the tow company post their tow signs and no parking signs the next afternoon. Goodbye street parking. Now anyone who didn't fit in the garage had to park 3 blocks away outside the condo units. The next straw was when one day 4 large evergreen trees were cut down from a communal park in the development. Old lady and treasurer Zelda found out Sonia had paid her sideman, who was also an arborist, over $8,000 of HOA money to cut these trees down, without any discussion or approval from the HOA board. Zelda flipped her S, and the next HOA meeting let everyone know what happened to the trees and how Sonia peed our HOA money away. We were planning for a community co-op garden. After the 6 o'clock meeting, I guess someone else on the board called Sonia to let her know that she was going to be removed from the HOA presidency due to the unapproved expenses, towing issue, and more. Well, at about 8 p.m., I hear screaming, like blood-curdling screams from a woman. "Help! Call the police!" Reddit. It's Zelda. She's outside her condo effing screaming. Sonia came over, punched the 70-year-old Zelda in the face, pulled her out of her own home, locked her out, and was now threatening to harm Zelda's disabled and bedridden elderly husband who was upstairs. Zelda's effing hysterical. I'm on the phone with the police, about 5 neighbors are also outside on the phone with the police. Zelda's screaming every curse word in the book through her own front door at our crazy ex-HOA president. Sonia was arrested that night for some crazy-ass like assault and holding someone hostage. Since Sonia was a single parent, her kids were taken away by relatives about an hour after CPS showed up. Zelda had this gnarly black eye and huge scratches on her chest where I guess Sonia clawed her shirt and pulled her into the haymaker. I only lived there 14 months and moved due to the escalating issues with the HOA. As a general contractor, I tend to find myself in conflict with other people's HOAs often. No matter how nice we are to the HOA, how many forms we fill out, how much notice we give, how clearly we describe a plan / a project, there is always some S for brains who just can't handle something we did, that we said we'd do, that we were told we could do. Example, $1.9 million property, 4,800 square feet, $750,000 project value, projected duration of 7 months. The relevant issue was lighting. All properties in the covenant had sensor-activated tree spotlights and accent lights located about a given property instead of down-oriented streetlights, in direct contradiction to countrywide dark sky initiative. We were very clear during the initial phase of planning that, given the age of the home, it was very likely not to be assumed that the property would need an entirely new electrical system. This would occur because of the scope of the remodel, basically gutting the interior, relocating almost all load-bearing walls, and exposing all other interior faces, and because of the incredibly strict, but seriously professional, permit inspections carried out by the township said covenant was located in. So I'm on site one day when the project is about 2/3 complete. We've gutted the place, rebuilt or relocated everything we want to, the bathrooms are being tiled, the new walls are hung, taped and floated, trim is going in next week, and hardwood floors are a day or 2 away. I'm outside helping one of the contractors with lumber at the end of the day, and this guy comes trotting down the street. This is an anomaly. I swear I've not seen a soul outside during spring and this summer anytime I've been here. He comes up to me. The TLDR conversation is, the daylight sensor lights are turning on at night and that's a finable violation, to which he's told, that's tough. Our plans clearly indicate some or all electrical devices could be disabled for an extended, indefinite period during the project, and I have the HOA chairman of the board's signature on our proposal approving it. Who might you be, sir? I'm Dick. No, really. From the board. I'm the chairman. I then showed him his own handwritten signature on our proposal, hashed it out for a few more minutes, and then warned the homeowner of impending stupidity. The homeowner eventually got into it for buckets of nonsense and punitively sold his property for below market value on the MLS instead of using the in-covenant real estate agency, thus lowering property values. Being rich enough to eat a loss has perks, no? If you want to watch the part 3, click the link here. Thank you for watching. Guys, thank you for all of the support and likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. See you next time.